Hey, you did it. You found it. You found the podcast version of the show. It's Writer Radio. Here are the things you need to know. We stream live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time at writerradio.com. 2, you can find every episode on YouTube, youtube.com/@writerradio. We're on Spotify, same name, Writer Radio. We are on Twitter or X @BradWriter, BradRiter. We're on Instagram @Writer Radio. There's a group now, Writer Radio Facebook group. Go there, find that, follow that, like it, whatever you have to do. We've got a phone number. You can send texts, leave voicemail, 716-288-5246. Email, bradwriter@gmail.com. You don't need to memorize this. It can all be found at writerradio.com. That's the hub. But those are the places. Thanks for listening. Please tell a friend. Please share. That's how we grow. Glad to have you on board to the podcast version of Writer Radio.
That sign is back. We're back, Fitz. Now show them your tits.
Okay.
With a Z. With a Z. Wait, you're going to have to protect Fitz because these fans and Josh and Dion all want one thing. What do you want?
Take it off.
Take it off.
There we go. It's time. It's time. It's time.
Give the people what they want, Fitz.
There it is. Take it off.
Oh, yeah.
He's a showman. Let's not. Come on now. He knew he was going to do it. He wanted to play hard to get a little bit, but he knew he was going to do it at the end of the night. Yeah, happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. Here's Ryan Fitzpatrick without a shirt on.
Meanwhile, across the field, here's how they covered the Dolphins.
The NFL is investigating accusations of domestic violence against Tyreek Hill and filings made earlier this month related to his divorce. Hill's ex-wife alleges he was violent with her on 8 separate occasions dating back to January 2024. He's denied this and has not been charged criminally. In 2015, Hill pleaded guilty to domestic violence charges stemming from his time at Oklahoma State, guys.
Thank you. He's no stranger to off-the-field stuff.
Right. Shout out Kaylee Hartung. She had a note card. She wanted to use it. She waited till an available moment and decided to just annihilate Tyreek Hill during the game. Can you imagine watching that game last night, or really any game lately? I guess the Ravens game wouldn't count, and we'll see what the Chiefs game looks like. But watching a game, an NFL game, a Bills game, as a fan of the other team, because that would stink. Everything that we've ever complained about with, let's just use the Chiefs as the most recent example. You get into a Bills game against the Chiefs, and it's typically a night game, so you've got one of the high-powered announcing crews talking about it, and we have just been bombarded for the past 8 years, with just how great that Chiefs team is, and just how great Mahomes is, and just how great Travis Kelce is, and the Taylor Swift part of it, and everything. The way that we have felt about the Chiefs, I think it's time to recognize that we are getting that treatment now. Every Bills game is a showcase for Josh Allen and friends, as opposed to a matchup between two football teams. Can you imagine tuning in and your team's trailing? I don't remember what the score was at the time, but it was never the game. It was too close for comfort, and it was tied at one point. But it was never, oh no, the Bills are in trouble. It was, oh no, the Bills might be in trouble. But whatever the score was, can you imagine watching that game as a fan of the Miami Dolphins? And they cut back into the booth, and the announcers are sitting there, except they've added one of their pregame and postgame hosts, Ryan Fitzpatrick, to the mix. And he's in the middle. He's sitting directly between, there's Kirk Herbstreit on the left, as you're looking at the screen. Kirk on the left, Ryan Fitzpatrick in the middle, Al Michaels on the right. And they come back, and he's such a Bills fan. He is notorious for having played for half the teams in the league. He spent time as the starter with Miami. Can you imagine watching the Dolphins play the Bills in a game that it feels like the Bills are going to beat us again. I know we're hanging with them, but it's going to happen again. You're sitting there, you're feeling it. And there is one of your former players. And then they cut to footage of when he, who played for your team and the other team, when he played for your team, but your team was out of the playoffs, so he came to a game in Buffalo and ripped his shirt off in the crowd, just as a guy with his kids drinking beer, rooting for the Bills. And that's the broadcast crew you're watching. You're watching Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is as big a Bills fan as I am, but is one of your former players. Can you imagine how little we would like a person who, if Jack Eichel, when the Sabres were out of the playoffs, went to some other city and was drinking beer and going nuts and ripping his shirt off and was like a mascot for some other team while he was on your team. Dude was under contract to the Miami Dolphins when he ripped his shirt off at that Bills-Patriots playoff game. That has become a thing to the point where he's doing it on the post-game show too. He did it when he led the charge, introduced the Bills on the field, ripped his shirt off. That's what people want. They want Ryan Fitzpatrick's hairy chest and back. Mostly his chest, I would think. I don't think anyone's clamoring for his back, but that's what they want. Do your crazy thing. It's essentially him jumping through a table by himself. Imagine that on a national broadcast when that guy used to play for you, and while he played for you, he took his shirt off at a playoff game for the other team. And now he is objective? This crew is objective? No. We are getting, this is the best of times. Western New York, the Bills are 3-0. And in their win, every time a broadcast crew descends upon Buffalo, they can't wait to tell the story. They're just talking about how much fun the team is. Well, you know, there are teams that are good, and then there are teams that are fun, and this is one of those teams that... Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. This is not losing 18 out of 20 to the Patriots. This is not losing 20 out of 20 to the Dolphins. I know the league wasn't covered in the same way back then. You know, I quickly jumped to the Chiefs as the example of what it was like when the NFL seemed like it was conspiring to tell that team's story, and your team was just in the way. The Bills are the story, and other teams are in the way, and it's awesome. I want to appreciate it. I want everyone to appreciate that that's what's happening, that this is the post-game show with a quarterback who played for both teams.
These fans are excited.
I think they're talking
They're already chanting, if you can't hear it, take it off to Fitz for his...
That sign is back. We're back, Fitz. Now show them your tits.
Okay.
With a Z. With a Z.
With a Z, that makes it fine to say on television. I think you could say whatever you want on Prime. You know what's cool, though? I was thinking about it right as that clip happened. I was watching. So I finished watching the game upstairs, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to roll on the post-game show, because I bet there's going to be something there worth noting. And Ryan Fitzpatrick was there and worth noting and worth recording. And I first heard that soundbite, and I thought, you're probably not going to hear that on the radio. I don't think anybody else could play that. I can just play it because it's just me. Nobody's telling me what I can do and what I can't do. Ryan Fitzpatrick is... He's more of our mascot than Billy Buffalo. I've never liked Billy Buffalo. If Ryan Fitzpatrick would like to work full-time as the Bills mascot, I'm fine with it. If he's going to be fun like that. And then in the meantime, your team is being covered, and rightfully so. I just picture Kaylee Hartung going, I can't believe I have to stand on a sideline with Tyreek Hill. Like, this is garbage. This is not a good person. You know what? I'm just going to write down this note, and when I get a chance, if they go to me, I'm just going to talk about his domestic violence out of nowhere. So that was the treatment they got. All right, I want to talk about the game itself. Scott Wilson will join me just after 11. It's Writer Radio. It's episode 170. We're streaming live, still on the Mixlr app, but also on YouTube now. What is the date? Today is 9/19. I didn't write that down yet. I wrote down a lot of stuff, but not that. And I am fighting through. So I mentioned we had COVID in our house, and I tested for it right before going to Kent State, and I was fine. And I don't think I have it. There are like these little lingering weird moments. And yesterday, part of it, I think, is that I got up early, but sore throat. I got up real early. I was super energetic. I had had way more energy than I ever have in the morning. I jumped out of bed 2 hours before the alarm and just couldn't wait to get going. And I was firing at 100 miles an hour for the entire show and leading up to the show. So from 6:30 until noon, I was doing the show basically, and then I was editing the show from noon to 1, and then I recorded a show from 1 to 1:30 or so with Scott, which is our UB football podcast, and I did that, and then I edited that, and it's a lot of talking, and I think that's all it is. I think this is not COVID related because my throat hurt more last night than it did when I woke up this morning, so I think I'm all right. I think I just have been talking too much and could use a break from that, which I will get because today's Friday, and all I'll do over the weekend as far as having to talk into a microphone is the UB football game, pregame show tomorrow at 2:30, and I'm on the game, but I don't talk that much. That one's fine. A lot of interviews, a lot of other people involved. I'll be taking a lot of, I already drank tea this morning. I'll be taking a lot of ice water breaks here. Went with a lot of ice. Most of it is melted, but I need to chill there. All right, Bills game. 3-0, 31-21 final. And the thing that stood out to me the most is that the Bills got the Chiefs and Patriots treatment, and that's just the way it is now. I think it's the validation of Josh Allen being an MVP. It's no longer, look at this guy. Isn't he great? Has he won an MVP? No. Has he won the Super Bowl? No. Has he been to the Super Bowl? No. Now he's an MVP who just hasn't been to the Super Bowl. And there are all these statistics and things on, who was it that said, do I have it still? There it is. Yeah, Mike Greenberg was talking about this is awesome. So I had this maybe 2 weeks ago, played this clip. I'm going to play it again. But this is not an isolated thing. This is what the NFL media landscape sounds like, looks like, feels like, no matter where you turn. This is Mike Greenberg from ESPN talking about Josh Allen. Now that he's an MVP, these things can be said.
As we pondered what is at stake in this 2025 NFL season for various players, we stumbled onto this. Josh Allen has the chance to remove his name from a place that no name ever wants to occupy, namely the greatest quarterback never to play in a Super Bowl, because he is that, and it's getting late early for his chances. Let me explain. Allen has already started 13 playoff games. The most that any quarterback ever started before making the big game was 12. Allen has thrown 25 postseason touchdowns. The most anyone else threw before making the Super Bowl was just 17. That was Peyton Manning, by the way. So Allen is well behind the curve, and candidly, it's not as though he can play much better. The numbers say he might be the best postseason quarterback ever. I told you, he has thrown 25 playoff touchdowns. There are a total of 21 quarterbacks who've thrown at least 20. He's the only one not to start a Super Bowl. In his 4 playoff runs that ended in losses to Kansas City, Allen has accounted for 28 touchdowns and 1 turnover. That is across 10 games and 424 passes and runs. His touchdown-to-interception ratio in the playoffs, by a wide margin, the best of all time. It's over 6-1. Mahomes is second at less than 5-1. In playoff history, teams that score at least 3 touchdowns with 0 turnovers are 140-19. Allen is the only quarterback to lose more than 1 of those games. He has lost 3 of them, all in the last 4 years, all against Kansas City. So the case on that part of this is closed. Josh Allen is the best quarterback never to start a Super Bowl. The open question is, being still only 29, is there still another level he can take this to change that?
So that was Mike Greenberg before the season started. This is just me accumulating information and data to help you understand exactly where we are in life right now as fans of the Buffalo Bills. If you're a fan of that team, this is the happiest time that I can recall. And yes, I went through the 4 Super Bowl thing. It didn't feel like this. It felt like something. I'm not dismissing it, but I never felt like I always felt like I was watching a team that could win the Super Bowl. I never felt like I was watching the best player in the league who deserved it and needed it. Like, I wanted them to win because I felt bad for Marv Levy. I felt sad. You know, you get a couple losses in, you're like, look at this poor guy. And he's still kicking. And can you just do it before he passes? He's 100 years old. Win one for Marv sounds like a good rallying cry. And I love that team. I love those teams and those players and all of that. But never have I experienced it. This is, if Dominic Hasek could score, like, that's the closest I can think of to experiencing anything like this in Buffalo. Like, that was a guy. Since Hasek, we've been hearing the phrase best goaltender in the world. That phrase didn't exist. It existed because they let NHL players play in the Olympics, and he went and dominated the Olympics too. And then they're like, all right, well, that was world, so now we can say world. Since then, everybody's best in the world. We get that a lot in hockey. Watching Josh Allen perform as just the consummate professional he has become is really an unbelievable thing for this city, this team, this community. So what we're watching is incredible. Like, to set the tone, I mean, I haven't even looked at the standings yet. I love looking at the standings after a win, especially when the Bills play before everybody else. So they play on a Thursday. Let's just take a look at what we're dealing with. And keep in mind all those numbers you just heard. I've got other numbers written down that are crazy too. They fit right with. I'm going to do that, actually. I'll do those, and then I'll get to the standings. And Scott Wilson's going to join me at 11. There's a bunch of other stuff to get to. I got a ton of stuff from the game that I want to discuss. But just big picture right now, what we are settling into here in the 2025 season is kind of how I want to start the show. Couple stats. The Bills have won they've won the turnover battle in 25 consecutive games, which is a record. The Bills are 26-6 against the AFC East since 2000. The Bills have won 11 straight division home games. This is domination, and even when it doesn't look perfect, you still tend to look and go, well, they're the better team. I hope they can pull this one off. I mean, that is happening consistently. We're going into the 6th season of it. 2000 pandemic year, weird, no fans in the stands. That was the year that Josh became Josh. The signs were there, dating back to the first season he played, for sure. They talked about it last night. The 2 times the Bills have lost to Miami. No, I'm sorry. That was on the postgame show. I was watching. Steve Tasker was talking about it on the Bills postgame live or whatever it was called. Josh Allen's lost 2 games to Miami. One of them was, as he said, the one that was played on the sun. You know, it was 100-something degrees and stupid humidity and cramping and people, I'm going to say passing out, but people were just dropping like flies. And they barely lost that game. And then the other game that he has lost to the Dolphins was the game where he made one of his first incredible plays. We've gotten used to it now. But one of his first incredible plays was him just keeping it alive, and then throwing deep to Charles Clay in the end zone, and Clay couldn't quite get it. It wasn't like a drop, but it was a, this guy can make this play and you can't make that play? Come on, man, type of deal. Very similar to the Dalton Kincaid play at the end of the Chiefs game, playoff game last year, where it's like Josh Allen just did everything he could, and I just need you to catch the ball, please, Mr. Tight End. And neither one is like, I'm mad at him. It's not a Ronnie Harmon drop. But it ain't on Josh. I mean, could the throws have been slightly better? Yeah. But did he do miraculous things to make the play that he did, and now he just needs a little bit of help? Yeah. So those are the 2 losses to the Dolphins. That's it. I mean, that's the Chiefs' playoff loss, too. Kincaid catches that ball, they kick a field goal, all set. But it didn't happen. That's where we are. That's where we live as Bills fans. And now that he's got an MVP, the national media not only recognizes it, but I think feels more comfortable in, I don't know, being as open about it. Braggadocious is the wrong term because I don't think they're fans necessarily, although who isn't a fan when you watch them play? I will say this, though. We as Bills fans, I think, have grown accustomed to, at least I have, the fan base just growing because people tune in and they're like, well, what's not to like about this guy? It's going to reach a point, and I think it's soon, where people are sick of him and sick of us Our story has been told so many times. And it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's, you come to Buffalo and you can't believe it. And the chicken wings and the diving through tables and they fight through everything and the adversity and they're a family. And they, all that stuff is, I love it. But it's becoming like the national narrative on this team. And that becomes old pretty quickly. The Chiefs weren't annoying the first time. It just gets annoying when everyone feels compelled or even allowed to talk about a team in such glowing terms when that team has not been to the Super Bowl. And that quarterback has not been to the Super Bowl. The MVP justifies it a little bit more. But I'm telling you, people are going to get the team, which is fine by me. I don't need everyone rooting for us. I do like that we've acquired, like amongst my friend group, we've acquired people who used to be, marginal fans of other teams. Like, you know what? It's kind of who I grew up rooting for because I lived in a town without a team. But it seems like you guys are having fun. So I'm happy to have like my friends on board. But from a big picture standpoint, I'm happy to have the state of Wyoming on board too. You guys are welcome to be here, sponsoring Bills games now. One of the formal sponsors. Brought to you by the University of Wyoming. Yeah, you think? Yeah, it sure is. Everything here is being brought to us by Wyoming, which is great. But just a heads up, people are going to get sick of this team. All right, now I want to look at the standings because it's so fun. It's so fun to be at the top of the standings. And I have not done this. I saved this for you. NFL, home, standings. Here we go. All right. If the playoffs started today, the Bills would be in again. They are the only 3-0 team in the NFL. They're the only team with an opportunity to be 3-0 at this point. How many 2-0s are left? The Bengals are left, the Colts, and the Chargers in the AFC. The Eagles, the Packers, the Bucks, and then we've got 3 of them in the NFC West in the Niners, Cardinals, and Rams. So there's a division leader in each division. That's repetitive, but you know what I'm saying. Each division leader is unbeaten. The Bills are the only team to 3 wins so far. They already have playoff standings? Yeah, they do. Perfect. All right, playoff standings. Here's what it would look like. Oh, no data available. Come on, man. It is very difficult when everybody's only played 2. All right, so right now, let's see. 3-0 would be in. Bengals are in. Colts are in. Chargers are in. I know it's week 2.5. But bear with me. And then after that, we're looking at how many 1-1s. The Pats, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Jaguars, the Raiders, the Broncos. Yeah, it sounds about right. That sounds pretty close to right. Not sure about the Bengals holding off both the Ravens and the Steelers. Certainly the Ravens seem to be, to me, I'm sure mathematically and Vegas-wise, they are the favorite in that division. So I'd expect them to, especially with Burrow out. I know they like Jake Browning enough, but that Bengals team has been notorious for starting slowly, but then working their way back in, and it's always this furious offensive thing that's going on. The best they've got right now on Burrow is maybe he'll be back this year. He had surgery. So that's them. So I'm thinking Ravens in that division. Colts, Jaguars, Texans, Titans. Who cares? I think who cares, right? And then the West, Chargers look like a real thing. The Chiefs are 0-2. They're playing the Giants this week, and Bob Gaughan gave his pick Wednesday, and it was like, just take the Chiefs minus the whatever it is, 5.5. So maybe they come out swinging this week against the Giants, but if the Bills if the Chiefs lose this game, and that's the thing that's been keeping them from the Super Bowl, and I know there are other factors, and I know there are other teams, and I know we're very far away from the playoffs, but I mean, could you feel better about the NFL season if the Bills are 3-0 and the Chiefs are 0-3? I know we're asking a lot for the Giants to win that game, but what else are you thinking about? Chargers, okay. Nothing in the South. NFC North seems like a little bit of a headache, but The Bills with Josh Allen right now look like a team that can do what it wants. And I know it wasn't perfect yesterday, but that's kind of the point. I mean, 3 games in, their point differential is plus 31. So they're winning by 10 points a game. Is anyone else close to that in the NFL? And I know other teams have only played twice, but that's what's fun about the standings right now. Packers are in that neighborhood. Packers are plus 23 point differential at 2-0. Ravens are plus 23 at 1-1. Colts are plus 26 at 2-0. Maybe that's a real thing. I don't know. I feel good about all of this. I'll tell you that. I want to find this story because I wrote down one of the main things I want to talk about is that Terrell Bernard interception. Was there any doubt with Tua? They're talking about how he really seemed to be under control and all that, but we're seeing the same stuff we've seen out of him his entire career. He's on the field. That's good. He hasn't had any scary concussion stuff in a little bit. So that's fun. Because I want to like him. He seems like a very nice, pleasant, humble kind of dude. He's a quarterback for the Dolphins, and I'm sorry, sir, you're in the wrong division right now. How is that? Like, how do you feel? Keep going back to how do you feel if you're a Dolphins fan? You tune in, and the broadcast is against you, and the other team's got Josh Allen, and you've got Tua, and your former quarterback is ripping off his shirt while he's on your team, and then he's doing it again on the field while everyone's celebrating him like he's a part of the team too, and he kind of is. And you've got Tua. It's like, all right, well, the Bills are getting the ball back here, so they'll go down and drive, and they do. They'll score. And they did. And all right, here comes Tua. This probably won't work out very well, and it doesn't. I do want to see, because there's a quote from him about a tremendous defensive play being made on that interception. If you get a chance, go back and watch it again. You may have noticed there was some pressure. You may not have noticed that it was massive, crazy pressure from rookie Deion Walker, just full speed ahead, this massive man coming at him, and Tua just heaving the ball, trying to get it past him. And that's how it goes directly to Terrell Bernard. I think that's probably going to be what Tua's talking about, but maybe not. Let's see. He says, with the Dolphins driving... He didn't say that. I'm reading the story, and then he'll get to the quote. With the Dolphins driving in Bills' territory, trailing 28-21, with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they had a great chance to pull a big upset. See, that's the thing. I remember thinking that when, like, Fitz was our quarterback and we were playing against the Tom Brady-led Patriots. And when I say we, look, I use we. We are the Bills. I mean, they're the team. I wouldn't do it on, like, a national show. But when I'm talking to people here, like, that's we. I can say we. I don't think that I'm on the team. I don't think I have any impact on the games. I don't think you do either, even if you're the 12th man. Maybe if you're there, yeah, you can help. All right. A Tua interception ended that great chance. He tried to throw to Jalen Waddle, but was picked off by Terrell Bernard. He said afterward it was more a good play by Bernard than a bad play by himself. Ooh, okay. See, this I think is going to be a little misguided by Tua. I thought I was in rhythm in timing of the play. Seen the flat defender go over the top of Jalen. Jalen's turning around. That was a really good play by the defender. I had some color in my face trying to maneuver the throw. Yeah, he did. But 10 out of 10 times, if we're looking at that same thing, I think I'd still try to work that timing of hitting that spot. I think the linebacker made a great play on that. You know, I've heard, and I've even said, like I've heard it come out of my own mouth, that everything with Tua is about timing and placement as opposed to finding receivers. It's like, yeah, looking at what I saw, I would throw to that place again. That place was where Terrell Bernard was. So I think it's maybe not the best approach. Like once he watches film, maybe he'll change his mind. I don't want to knock the guy because I think I like him, but that's not competition for number 17 at all. 10 out of 10 times, if we're looking at that same thing, I think I'd still try to work that timing of hitting that spot. I think the linebacker made a great play on that. That's crazy. 10 times out of 10, I'd throw that same pass? I mean, I'm going to go back and watch it again, I guess. But what I saw was, oh my God, here comes a giant man, just throw the ball over there. And it went directly to Bernard. So did he make a great play on it? I mean, no knock, great play. Thank you. I appreciate it. But from Tua's perspective, to say like that wasn't me, that was just an incredible interception by Bernard. Like, yeah, I wouldn't be happy about that. I'm the quarterback's coach. I'm the offensive coordinator. I'm the head coach. I'm a fan of the Dolphins. Why am I sympathizing with Dolphins fans so much today? I don't know. I see where we are and where they are and how they got treated on the broadcast last night, and I feel bad for them. And I don't like them, but I feel bad. Dolphins were big underdogs that played the Bills close for most of the game. Tua said he thought they played well. No moral victories, that's for sure. There's definitely some things we can take away that's good, that's up to par, that's our standard of how we operate in our offense. I guess it's not a moral victory, but if you wanted McDaniel to remain as the head coach, I think you needed to show up yesterday, and they did enough that he's probably not getting fired today. But that's kind of the extent of it. I need to find that play. Bernard, I'm going to type in Bernard interception. I'm going to watch it again. Sorry, I'm excited about the win. All right, highlight. Interception by Bernard from can't miss play. Bernard, that one. All right, Yahoo Sports. We'll even take the audio if it's there. Probably will be, right? Can't miss play. Where's the play? Show me the play. Buffering. Come on, man. Is it harder to download stuff while you're uploading to two different streams? Because we are live at MixLR, the app we've been using since episode 101, but also now live on YouTube. I don't have the capacity to stare at both and follow both chats. But like right now, I've got the Mixler chat going. There's some baseball stuff in there. Cubs made the playoffs. All right, come on. Enough with this car ad. When can I press play? I would like to watch the play now, please. There's just a car on the screen. Okay. I'm going to skip this one. Go to a different one. Take two. Not that. That's 22 minutes long. 15 seconds long. Let's try this. This one's just on Reddit. Possibly no audio. We'll see.
To a throw, and it's intercepted. It's picked off.
Sorry, I'm breaking down film, if you will.
To a throw, and it's intercepted.
He broke on the ball. And got in front of him. But, I mean, say 10 out of 10 times you're going to make that throw. You're going to throw to that spot. 8 out of 10 times it's getting picked off by Bernard and the game's over. Watch it again. All right, he's back. 2 steps, 3 steps. And he is throwing. If I could see the other angle, it might have gone between the arms of Deion Walker as he's approaching. He's about 1.5 yards away from Tua as the ball is released. And it appears to go directly through his arms. So we can say what we want about the play being made by Terrell Bernard. But, yeah, that ball is never getting to him. That ball is never getting to him, and he couldn't see it because he's a little lefty without a cannon trying to throw through Deion Walker. How big is Deion Walker? I mean, that's what I wanted to see. When I saw a tremendous play made by defender, I wanted to see if he credited Walker. Deion Walker he's 7'4", and 350. No, that's Andre the Giant. 7'4" and 500 pounds. Is that what they called him? Deion Walker, 6'7", 331 out of Kentucky. He's the one that made that play. No knock on Terrell Bernard. Good job. Broke on the ball. But if I'm Tua, I'm not saying 10 times out of 10 I'm throwing that, because 8 or 9 times out of 10 that same thing is happening with that kind of pressure, with reliance on timing. Tua remains a first-read quarterback, as he's been since college. So if you can take that away from him, he loses his mind and makes awful decisions. That was the read, so he went with it. At least he didn't attempt to pull out of that and then run backwards like he did most of the rest of the game, and then turn and throw to the side. He threw a ton of dangerous, almost lateral type of passes that, had they not been completed, would have been possibly fumbles, just loose balls, free ball for the Bills defense. I'm not saying he doesn't care, but it was reminiscent to me of one of my least favorite players in NFL history, Jay Cutler, who, when he would give up on a play, he would give up on a play. There was a game, and I still hate it because they won. The Broncos won against the Bills. But there was a play where driving, this is 2007. It was the year that the Bills had 2 games where they'd never trailed until the clock read 0, and then it said they lost. It sucked. It's what drove me out of having season tickets. I had so much fun at that Cowboys night game and also at that Broncos game. But then at the end, you look up, and it said, no time on the clock, your team loses. Now go fight through traffic and get out of here. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be a season ticket holder anymore. That was the end for me. Although I think I did one more year because Jeremy convinced me, because then we had T.O. But the 2007 season had a game like that, and it was Jay Cutler had the ball. They're driving, and he turned, and he just threw the ball backward. And it ended up rolling out of bounds just barely, and they survived it, and then they won, and then he was a hero for driving them down the field. It was just like, you can't be that player. And I think Tua's kind of that player. Cutler had the I don't care vibe to him. Tua's got the I don't know what I'm doing vibe to him. So again, I just pictured myself as a Dolphins fan and how painful that whole thing would have been. All right, I'm going to take a break, play a song, then we'll get to some of the comments in the chat, the 2 chats. I'll have a chance to look while I play a song or two. Scott Wilson will join us just after 11. Anybody see that James Cook thing? James Cook. Everybody loves James Cook, right? Just quiet, unassuming, does his job, is spectacular in the open field. Every time he gets it, it looks like he could just go the whole way. It's fun. It's fun to have a back like that. He's starting to get some respect, being like top back in the league. He doesn't have the star power necessarily of like a Barkley. But maybe that's just because they haven't won the Super Bowl yet. Maybe that changes. But he is, by all accounts, a good dude. People like him. There's video of him after the game walking off the field, and there's an older woman who's sitting. She's on the field, I think. So she's got to know somebody. But right near the tunnel, and she's sitting, and she's got a cane. And he's walking past, and she asks him for his hat. He's wearing like a winter cap. And he just gives it to her. But in the seconds after he gives it to her, it looks like he's about to steal her cane and go up the tunnel. And I think that would have been awesome. I know it wouldn't have been that nice to do to that lady. But video of James Cook going, yeah, I'll give you my hat, but I'm taking your cane. So now your head's going to be nice and warm in September. But you're not getting home. Somebody's going to have to carry you to the car. And I wouldn't want him to keep it. But I think it would have been very cool if he took it, went up the tunnel, then came back laughing and gave it to her. And it looked like that was what was going to happen. I don't know how many people saw that clip, but it was funny in my brain because I think of stuff like that. That's what I wanted to happen. All right, play a song. I put a bunch of new songs in so that I'd be prepared and I wouldn't have to think too much. Of course, that led to me suddenly looking up and realizing the show was starting in 5 minutes. So I spent like 45 minutes just loading music into this thing. Because I think the music is an important part of the show, even though it can't be on the podcast version. I think it's important, and that's why you should be listening live. It's a part of the flow of the show. All right. We'll be right back. I'll be right back. It's Writer Radio. It's episode 170. Thank you for joining me. Whether you're on the Mixler stream or the YouTube stream, or you're listening after the fact in the podcast form at writerradio.com or on Spotify. There's a lot of places to put things. And I'm working on it. I'm working on hitting all of them for you. We can all be friends. It's fun. Stay tuned to Writer Radio.
Let's check in with Writer Radio's senior football correspondent, Scott Wilson.
We continue. There's my microphone. There we go. We continue Writer Radio, episode 170. It was pointed out to me by my dad, by way of my mom, or vice versa. My mom noticed it. My dad texted me that the show was listed as episode 160 instead of 170, and I was able to change that quickly. And so that's all fixed. And Scott Wilson, he was on 160. He'll be on 180. He's also on 170. Scott Wilson, what's happening, man? How are you? Oh, also I'm turning on the camera. I'm turning on the camera for the YouTube feed right now. It's been off for the first hour. I just had like the rotating logo going. But I got to hit one button. I just got to remember which one it is. I'll say hi to you. But moments from now, if you're watching the YouTube stream, you'll be able to see me and also the words on the phone, Scott Wilson. We're getting there. We're getting somewhere with this technology. How are things, Scott?
Good. Are you on the live stream? Can you wave to the live stream?
I can't because I didn't find the button yet. Transition.
You gotta wait.
This is the one right there. Okay, there we go. Hi.
Well, can you wait?
I'm waving to you right now. I could wait. Whatever. What else do you want? What else do you want from me?
Oh wow.
I'm gonna dance.
What else you got going on? What's going on in there?
Nothing.
Got anything else going on in there?
No. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. Did you watch the football game last night? I know you did. That's a setup. That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
I know where it's. Going. You know how I know you. You know how I know you watched the football game.
Professional setup right there.
Yeah. Well, you know how I knew that you watched the football games because you watch all the football games, and there was one on last night.
That's right. Yeah, and I was probably bothering you because I just was incessantly texting you about Tua.
I liked it. We think alike. We had a lot of the same opinions. There were a couple times. In fact, you know what? The first text during the game, do you remember that we sent texts to each other simultaneously? It was almost cute. The Tyreek Hill first down on third down where he didn't actually catch the ball and nobody noticed it on the broadcast, but I noticed it and you noticed that he had it and had one foot in, but then he didn't have it, and then that's when the other foot went in, and it should not have been a catch, and that drive shouldn't have worked, and that would have changed a lot about, I think, the overall feel of the game had that just been a 3-and-out like it should have been.
Yeah, he juggled it, and then once he gets it, he only gets 1 foot down.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't brought up again.
It's weird.
It was very weird. I don't know how that wasn't. I mean, I get what are they? 2 minutes into the game, 1 minute into the game.
Right. Nobody's ready to stop and look at things yet. But come on.
Right. Might not want to challenge it yet, especially given McDermott's record, which is terrible.
Right. But we've got the replay assist thing now, where that should just be corrected on its own. I mean, if it happens immediately, we see it, and it happened live, and I said, I don't think that's a catch. And then 4 seconds later, they showed a replay. I said, that's not a catch. And I can't talk to the league, so all I can do is text you. And I said, that's not a catch. And as I hit send, you said to me, that's not a catch. At the exact same time, we saw it that quickly. Shouldn't replay review work in real time in that way? I mean, that's where we're headed, and it seems sometimes like we've got it. But in that instance, we did not.
Well, just in general with replay, I feel like you and I, as a fairly reasonable cross-section of people watching the game, even when we're at UB games, it doesn't take us very long to figure it out.
Right.
Like, these reviews should be no longer, to me, in my head, than 15 seconds for most of them. There are some calls where you do need to see multiple angles to try and figure it out.
Of course, but some are so apparent that they can be fixed quickly, and I thought that was what we were doing with the NFL right now, is fixing those quickly without without needing a challenge, without needing a coach to throw a flag, without having to stop and walk over here. It's just like somebody's upstairs, like, he didn't catch the ball. And then they go, all right, he didn't catch the ball, punt. Like, it should work that quickly. And sometimes it does. We're getting there, but not last night.
Yeah, slowly but surely. We're certainly not getting there in college football.
No. Oh, my God.
But slowly but surely, there was a play later in the game where it was going to be a 3rd and short, and all of a sudden they announced that with replay assist, the Dolphins got the first down and they moved it forward.
And they got that right. Totally right. That was perfect.
Totally right.
Quickly.
It was very quick, and I like that.
Yep.
But the other stuff just seems to no need for things to go on as long as they do. But
yeah. All right, I sidetracked you. You wanted to talk about Tua. Talk about Tua.
Let's talk about Tua. And, firstly, the Bills did what they did. It felt at times like they were playing with their food in the second half, if that makes sense. Like, that was a 1-possession game and tied there for a little bit, and it never at any point felt like it actually was.
It didn't feel dangerous.
No. I mean, it felt a little bit. You get in the second half, you get into the fourth quarter in a 1-score game where you're like, stop messing around, because if something fluky happens, then
Right.
then you could be in trouble. But it never actually felt like that was going to happen.
Right. Especially with Tyreek Hill on the other team. Like, we've just seen fluky Tyreek Hill things. So there are little PTSD type of moments you have as a Bills fan as you're watching. But that was so in control the entire time that the score didn't really indicate it. But that said, I felt at halftime the same way that I feel often at UB. The conversation I have, one of the segments of the UB halftime show, I always talk to Bob Gaughan. And very often it's like, I feel like they own this game, but the scoreboard does not tell that same story. And that puts you in a tricky spot, especially in college. I mean, I think the Bills have the Dolphins overmatched, and it's a night game, and it's at home, and all that stuff. And the Josh's teams always beat the Dolphins. And that was all there. But the score was tight.
Yeah, it was tight. They hung around, and the Dolphins getting a lot of credit today for being a professional football team. Like, hey, they hung around. That was nice. They were being treated at times like
children.
It was the Special Olympics.
Uh-huh.
It's like, well, yeah, but they are getting dominated.
Yeah,
But Tua, it is astonishing, first of all, that he was able to get the contract that he has. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But second of all, he has not gotten any better since the first throw and first play he's made in this league.
That's crazy. And it's totally right. And I hadn't thought of it in that way until you texted me. And then I said it earlier today. And I was like, Scott's coming on and he wants to say it. So I stole that from you and said it earlier. But I didn't really steal it. You pointed it out, and it's 100% right. The criticisms are exactly the same, and nothing has changed. I don't know if you heard the quote from him about that play, the interception at the end. And I watched it back, and this is just crazy talk. Like, I'd be so livid if I'm a Dolphins fan or a Dolphins coach, and I hear him say this. He says, I thought I was in rhythm, in timing of the play, seen the flat defender go over the top of Jalen. Jalen's turning around. That was a really good play by the defender. I had some color in my face trying to maneuver the throw. Color named Deion Walker at 6'7", 330. Listen to this quote. But 10 out of 10 times, if we're looking at that same thing, I think I'd still try to work that timing of hitting that spot. I think the linebacker made a great play on that. He made a good play on that. But Tua blindly threw to a spot. Blindly is probably the wrong word. But he unwisely threw to a spot where the Bills 9 out of 10 times are going to take the ball away and end the game. And in the post-game press conference, he's like, yeah, I'd make that throw again. That's bad.
Right. That's why the Dolphins suck.
Yeah, it's real bad.
Right. I think if it would be better if he said, 9 times out of 10, the look we're getting in that situation, that's what you want to do. But this was the 10th time. And if I had to do it again, you know what I wouldn't do?
That.
Throw the interception.
Right. That's crazy.
Right.
That was just such a crazy answer.
That he would say 10 out of 10 times, I'm going to do that.
I only clicked on the link. I only clicked on the link because it says Tua said that was a really good play by the defender, and I wanted to see if he was crediting Deion Walker, who was in his face, and I'm pretty sure the ball went between his arms and then into the arms of Terrell Bernard.
It actually deflected slightly off of his arm. Didn't change anything about the throw, but it did make contact with Walker.
Okay.
If you watch it back in slow-mo. He was there, but that throw, if he doesn't do it, the pass is still going to be intercepted.
Right, because he threw it to Terrell Bernard.
Right. It's one of the reasons that the game never really felt dangerous despite the close nature of the score was because, and I said this to you a bunch of times and some other friends that I was texting with.
You text with other people?
Yeah, sometimes.
Come on, man.
Sometimes I have to. I'm sorry.
All right.
But Tua's going to give you one.
Right.
He always gives you one.
Well, he tried early. That fumble early. Right. He tried then too.
Yeah, it's shocking that it's taken this long, but here it is, and there it was. He hasn't gotten better. The scouting report. Think about the scouting report that you would have on Josh Allen, or
from Joe 2018,
Burrow,
yeah,
from
compared
his
to now.
First 5 games to now,
yeah,
or Mahomes on the first 5 games that he played to now. It's a completely different player. They have improved. They have gotten better. Tua's day one scout is still the same today. He's a first-read quarterback. If the first read isn't there, he really starts to get nervous. He panics. And if there's any pressure, he's going to look down in the first quarter. If he faces pressure, the rest of the game, he's going to start looking down. And then his initial instinct on all of that is to run backwards, is not to step up in the pocket. It is not to be elusive. It's to go backwards. There was a time yesterday where the first read was taken away and Tua turns around.
Yeah.
Facing the other end zone and starts running backwards. It's incredible. And
it's like playing a 6-year-old in Madden. It's like playing a 6-year-old in Madden, and he's got like Mike Vick as his quarterback. So he's like, I'm just going to keep running because you're never going to. And he just keeps going backward and backward. And then the other part of it too, he's running backward, and then he threw all of these passes. There had to be 4 or 5 of them that were borderline laterals, where if it's not caught, it's just going to be a free ball for the Bills to grab. Like everything about it is just wrong, and that being ignored. I've spent today's show mostly thinking about how much it must suck to be a fan of other teams in the league, and specifically the Dolphins, watching last night, as every primetime game with the Bills in it is a celebration of not just Josh, but all of his friends and all the quirky little things that they do and how they're a family and they love each other. And then also they kick your ass. And to be a fan, and especially the Fitzpatrick angle on it, like knowing that that's a guy that was on the Dolphins roster when he went to a Bills playoff game and took his shirt off and cheered for them beating the Patriots, and now he's one of the people in charge of the broadcast on the game. It's just, man, it's got to be frustrating to root for that team. And it seems like Mike McDaniel will survive because of that performance yesterday, but I don't know that that's the right move.
Yeah. What is Mike McDaniel going to do? He's got Tua at quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, that ain't going to get better. It's not going to get better. The 1 year that Tua had that got him the contract was the year that he was able to actually stay healthy. They had the easiest schedule, I believe, in the NFL, and ran up the score against those lesser opponents.
The 70 points against the Broncos, I remember.
70 points against the Broncos.
But they play the Bills the next week.
The next week, they came in to the stadium, and Josh, like a deviant, just kind of ripped their arms off and beat them to death. They killed them. They killed them. It was a
48-20. Yeah, they won 70-20 in Denver, or excuse me, at home against Denver, and then they came on the road and lost 48-20 to the Bills.
Yeah, and that was a hot day. I was actually at that game. That was like a 90-degree day out of nowhere in September. But it's just astonishing that teams survive like this in the NFL. That they've decided to throw in with Tua, and compound all of that he is one hit away from dying because he's had so many concussions. Like, he's legitimately one hard hit away from being a vegetable.
Yep.
And it's I don't get it. I don't get it. I will say, as much as I'm hating on Tua, I want to give the Bills a ton of credit because they identified it, they know it, and what I think that they do better than any other team that faces the Dolphins is they are able to read and figure out what Tua's first read is going to be more than any other team that faces them. And they know that if that first read isn't there, Tua really starts to panic. And it gets to be fun time for the defense, whether it be rushed or he's going to throw the ball into danger or he's going to make an inaccurate throw. And they're able to identify that and see it and take it away and cause Tua and the Dolphins a lot of problems. And they deserve a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, and I saw them also, again, appreciating what they are looking at and figuring out. I saw them giving him some of the Flutie treatment. Because if you think about it, you're talking about him being one hit away, and very often when I'm watching Dolphins games, that's kind of what I'm expecting to see. Is like, maybe this will be
like a NASCAR race.
Tua's last game. The Bills didn't put a ton of pressure on him, but I think they made a decision to take the little guy, trap him in the pocket, and let him try to beat you with his second or third read. It's not there. He doesn't have the ability to move the way that many quarterbacks in the NFL do to get out of there. He'll scramble here and there, but his rushing, it's not a big part of his game. So if you can trap him in the pocket and he's short and his timing's off, he's dead. So I saw an effort intentionally multiple times to just trap him there and force him. Go ahead, throw the ball into our secondary, please. Please throw the ball down there. And it's an intelligent way to approach dealing with a subpar starting NFL quarterback.
I texted you some of the stats that I saw just kind of circulating last night, and it's like the numbers are ridiculous right now.
26-6 against the East since 2000.
Yeah.
11 straight division wins at home, and then one you sent me today was 25 games in a row that the Bills have won the turnover battle, which I think you said is a league record.
Yeah, it's crazy what they're doing to this division right now, and it's very similar to what was happening with Tom Brady.
Sure.
And as frustrating as it was for the Bills fans in that era, and it was, I mean, nobody's got more wins over another team than
Brady
Tom
over the
Brady
Bills.
over the Bills.
Yeah.
But I mean, Josh is going to make a run at that. He's in the process of making a run at that already.
Yeah.
It's got to be really difficult for the Jets and Dolphins fans, because just when they thought, all right, that's over. Okay. Another one on another team in your division starts immediately. Like, Brady left the division and went to Tampa Bay, and that's right when Josh got excellent.
Yeah.
And so they just walked themselves into another situation where they're always playing from behind. It's crazy what has happened in the East. And even really before that, it was basically the Bills in the 90s.
Right.
So when Bills, Patriots, Bills, and there's just been very little room for anybody else to breathe.
Yeah, there's like two Jets years mixed in, one Miami year mixed in, and that's it since 1990. That's terrible.
So, I mean, it's got to be really frustrating to be somebody else in that division other than you guys and the Patriots. And you got, the Bills they're running the show right now in that division. Every year it feels like, they didn't make any splashy moves. Maybe this is the year they lost some people here or there. And no, they have 17 and you guys don't. You're running Tua out there against Josh Allen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No.
And here's another thing about the Dolphins. Their head coach, McDaniel, you can call it pride, you can call it whatever it is. He has to try to prove that he is the smartest person in the room. He's from Yale, and he wants to let you know it. And guess what? There's a guy from Wyoming on the other sideline that probably barely went to school and was like, it's not going to matter, dude. Not going to matter. But McDaniel has to try and throw the ball. They are running the ball effectively down the field to try and tie the game. And the first time they try to throw it, it's the pick. He just can't keep running the ball. He refuses to run the ball. They've got Achane, which is the speed guy, and now they added in Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State.
He looked very
good. As a beefy dude. Yeah, as a beefy option where they could be running those two guys. And then the play action over the top to Hill or over the middle to Waddle, things should open up. But they have to try and do 100 motions and everything else. He's got to show you that he's the smartest. And it just plays into what McDermott wants to happen every time. Every time they match up. It's just crazy. It's crazy, and it's great to watch because, they live in Miami. They don't need anything else.
Who would you compare to James Cook? Because he has become, when the contract thing was kind of up in the air, I think Bills fans are kind of mixed on it. It's like, yes, of course I'd like to have him back, but at what cost? I personally just settle on, if Bean decides this is going to work, then I accept it. But I'm really glad he's back, and he's a really good player. Like, I don't think he's elevated yet to absolute superstar in the league, but I don't think he's ever going to when he's playing with that guy. There have been combinations in league history where you're really infatuated with both the quarterback and the running back, but Josh Allen is just such a superstar that I think Cook can, and I think he seems to be happy to, kind of just hang out in the shadows a little bit and consistently perform the way that he did yesterday. There aren't a lot of running backs that put on the kind of show that he did last night and still are kind of second, third fiddle in a game. I'm super impressed with him. I like his humility, the way he carries himself, and I don't know. I like the fit. The fit is good, and that's why they found a way to get the new deal done. What would you compare him to? Who have you seen? Like what? How do you view him?
I think I view the situation a little bit like Edgerrin James on the Colts.
Okay.
Where it was every preview was like Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, and the Colts. And Edgerrin James is in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's a Hall of Fame level player and was just kind of like, Edgerrin James is here too. What? The guy was awesome.
Yeah.
And Cook is, I think at this point, probably second in line, but he's still behind who is right now the most popular player and probably the best player in the league.
Yeah.
So he's going to be overshadowed. He comes off very much as a quiet guy anyway.
He seems to like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's kind of fine. And it has to be incredibly nice to go into every game knowing that no matter how good you are, the defense cannot specifically game plan for you.
It's a good point. There's no chance you were the first one that came up in the meeting.
Right. Everything that happens in every defensive meeting is always going to be centered around Josh because he is the unicorn. He can do everything. He can run around you. He can run over you. He can throw it past you. He's making good decisions. He's audibling. He's running the offense. And it's like in seventh place is James Cook running for 100 yards a game and 18 touchdowns a year. That's a great place to be. I'll be quiet.
Right.
I'll be, all these. Randy Moss wasn't a problem in the locker room in New England because they won every game.
Right.
So for Cook, it's, we're winning games, man. And I'm still I'm still doing what I do. Like, this is real fun. So I'm not like, he can't be angry about anything. There's nothing to really be that upset about. If they were losing games and he was getting 7 carries a game,
right,
he would probably voice his concern. But he's getting 15 to 20 carries a game, going over 100 yards, ripping off long runs. And when they get down into the red zone, he's scoring all the touchdowns. Cool.
Yeah, it's cheating because the Bills have played the extra game, but I just opened up NFL standings, and if you have the passing yardage leader and the rushing yardage leader and you're undefeated, you're probably doing all right, and that's where they are right now. Josh Allen is in first place for yards with 755, Russ Wilson second, Daniel Jones is third, Tua's fourth, so yeah, doing fine there. And then rushing leaders, it's James Cook, again, extra game, but still, then Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson. It's just nice to see. I enjoy it. Like, I intentionally opened up the standings to see the Bills at 3-0 and the Chiefs at 0-2 today. And looking at this, again, I know it's cheating, but they played an extra game, and I get to do this once in a while. And today is the day where it's teams undefeated. Let's see how everybody else is doing. Not as well. And being number one on both of those lists is very fun. It's very fun.
I bet it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
My Giants are going to try and
make it 0-3. Make the Chiefs 0-3. Can you do it?
Yeah, they're gonna try and do it. Probably not. I think Russell Wilson is a lot closer to week 1 Russell as opposed to week 2 Russell, where he. I mean, if you watch the Cowboys game, there were times where he was just dropping back and just throwing it as far as he could.
How'd that work out?
The Cowboys are so bad that it didn't matter. It was great. I don't think I think the Chiefs are much better than that. They're going to bring a lot more pressure. There's going to be a lot more to deal with there for him. I do want to throw in, I know I complained last week about how the Giants, again, getting a 60-plus yard field goal as time expires put up on them.
What was that crazy stat? You have that?
The first one that I saw was of all 60-yard plus field goals that have been tried in the fourth quarter, like at the end of the game, in the last minute of the game, the Giants have had 20% of them on them.
So this is NFL history. 20% of 60-plus yard field goals attempted in the last minute of the game have been against the Giants.
It was something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. How about this one? The Giants and the league, 60-plus yard field goals in the fourth quarter. The league, against the league, it's 3 for 41.
Okay.
All right. The Giants, in their Giants history, 60-plus yard field goals late in the fourth quarter, 3 for 3. No one's ever missed. It just always goes in.
Oh my God.
It's really frustrating. You look back at the defense and I complained about it, and last week I said they played too soft. It was like their own kind of 13-second situation where they gave it up too easy and Aubrey's got a big leg. In the end, the defense forced a 64-yard field goal.
That's pretty good.
You gotta feel good. Historically, for everybody else, that's a great situation, except for the Giants, who are now opponents are 100% against them in 60-plus yard field goals in the fourth quarter to win or tie the game. I can't be that mad about it against the defense, but I guess that's a situation you just got to know. You got to hold them to 70 or more, 70 or longer field goals, I guess, is what you have to do.
Well, I'd watch out for that Jacksonville guy. Do you have to play Jacksonville this year?
That Jacksonville guy, I mean, even the 64-yard field goal from Aubrey, the Aubrey one looked like it was probably good from 70 last week. I mean, that guy's story is crazy, too. He never played football. He was a soccer player and was, I don't know, selling insurance or doing cars or something like that, and watched a game and was like, this can't be this hard. These guys are missing this. And after watching the game, just grabbed a couple of footballs and took them out to the local high school field and started kicking. Was like, oh, I can actually do this. And now he's with the Cowboys, killing me. This dude is killing me with this.
Yeah. Stuff.
But it's a good story nonetheless.
All right. So at 0-2, how are the Giants? What are their prospects for this season? Obviously, major difference between 1-2 beat the Chiefs and 0-3. But let's say they somehow can win this game. How does the division look? How daunting a task is it? Are you thinking only about the Eagles? Are you thinking about everyone? Like what's the status there? Jaden Daniels is hurt.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels being out could affect the standings. As a Giants fan, I'm not worried about the Eagles at all. It's wild card. Like they're not going to beat the Eagles. They haven't beaten the Eagles since Eli Manning was a quarterback there, and even then it was a couple of years before he left. Okay. The division is over. That's not happening. They've already got 2 division losses in the first 2 weeks, so that's not happening. But wild card, you're still all right there. You can try and sneak in somehow there. But again, the start of the schedule is so daunting. For me, I just enjoyed having a game last week where they looked like a real NFL team and it was competitive. Now, it sucked because I hate the Cowboys and I wanted them to win that game. But it was better than week 1 where it was a 1-score game. It was a lot like the Bills-Dolphins last night. that was a one-score game for 3/4 of the game. It never felt like it.
Right.
It just never felt like the Giants would ever get in the end zone. So, it didn't feel as competitive as it should have. They just need to show progress. This is a big benchmark game as far as what's going to happen with the front office and the coaching staff. If they go out there and this is like a 20-17 game, even though it's a loss, but they show that they are competitive and it's, they're a real NFL team, I think that's fine. If they go out there and they get blown away, it's going to get trouble soon. There's going to be trouble there soon, and there's going to be pressure to start playing Jackson Dart earlier than what they want.
Yeah. Well, it sounds a lot like what we were talking about going into last night's game with the Dolphins. It's like, all right, go prove that you at least can compete in this league, and you're not going to embarrass ourselves. We're not going to embarrass ourselves with you.
But you haven't given up already.
Yeah. And I guess they did enough of that, and you're looking to see that. I mean, obviously you want to win, but you're looking to see something competitive put on film that, I don't know, makes ownership feel better about the future of the franchise. I guess that's where you are. But even then, like, I don't want to bring this up every week. I just think Jameis Winston would be so much more fun to watch than Russ while we're waiting on the Jackson Dart thing. I think Dart's probably in there by the end of the season once you get past the halfway mark and things start to seem insurmountable. Then you get to see the new guy. But I don't know, man. I just, like, for right now, how far do you go with Russ before Jameis Winston gets real consideration? Not how far do you go, but how far does Dable go?
I don't know. I think Jameis Winston is the man on the outs here. I know it wouldn't necessarily be great for the Bills, but I would be very open to trading him to the Bengals. If they would be willing to give up a nice pick, because that would be chaos.
Yeah.
Like he would, with those wide receivers, he would throw for 60 touchdowns.
Yeah, and 48 interceptions.
48 interceptions because of the offensive line and the madness that would go on in his brain.
And that's all assuming that the trade doesn't happen until after Sunday. So we're going to take 3 games off it. We're going to say that in 14 games he'll be in the 70 and 48 range, or 60 and whatever you just said. It doesn't matter.
Right. It would be
fun.
He would put up wild fun numbers with that offense, but it would also be just pure chaos.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm open to seeing him play for the Giants. I think at this stage of the game, he is probably a little bit better than Russ, but he's also so erratic and
unpredictable,
and unpredictable that I think if your job was on the line, Jameis Winston's a very dangerous option to throw back there. You have no idea what's going to happen. And at least with Russell, you kind of have a little bit more of an idea, even if the upside with some of the plays isn't as high.
Well, it's like a human Hail Mary, right? You're like, I don't know what else. I'm going to try this. There's a chance this works. There's a chance it goes horribly, but I don't have any other options, so I'm going to go with this. I don't know. I'm just looking for fun out of this whole thing, and I want to get to the Dart thing. I've been impressed with everything I've seen from him and read about him. It seems like they've got something there that's at least worth exploring, but I understand how early in the season you want to make sure that you're not just throwing him to the wolves when you've got an actual chance of competing for a playoff spot. So I guess, I'm very interested to see this game against the Chiefs, obviously, because I want to see the Chiefs lose, and I would love to see, like, how do we calculate that? If the Bills are 3-0 and the Chiefs are 0-3, is that 6 games back? It feels like it's 6 games back. I don't know how you're supposed to say that, but it kind of feels that way.
Yeah, it's not 6 games, but I think that there's only 6 teams that have started 0-3 ever and made the playoffs. So while the mystique of the Chiefs is there and they deserve it because they've been in 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, you're starting to just statistically get to an area that is very hard to get out of.
Well, because we've had years where we're saying what's wrong with the Chiefs, and they're sitting at 4-2, but they're just not blowing anybody away. We've had years like that with the Patriots also, going back to their ridiculous run.
On to Cincinnati,
right?
Weren't they 1-3 or something like that?
Whatever it was, it's just like they were going to fix it, but they had an all-time coach and an all-time quarterback. I guess the Chiefs do too. I don't know. It's just I want them to lose to the Giants, I guess. In conclusion, in the end, I would like to see the Chiefs lose this game to the Giants and fall to 0-3. That's kind of what I'm going for. Let's hit college football.
Hold on.
Okay, let's not. Let me hold on.
Before we do that,
all right.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You know what Jameis Winston is?
No.
Jameis Winston is the human version of Apollo 13. And
okay.
Sometimes, and in his version of the movie, sometimes the guys get back to Earth,
right?
And sometimes they don't. Sometimes, like, something is always going to go wrong. Like, every time you watch that movie or you watch the documentary footage, something
always goes wrong.
They ain't landing on the moon. Like,
no.
they're something always goes wrong.
Yeah, there's one thing we know.
Jameis, sometimes they just skip off the atmosphere and keep going forever.
Yeah, that's fun. That is fun. I want that. It's not my team, so it's different. It's easier for me to say when it's not my team. It's your team, and I want you to be happy, Scott. I would like you to be happy.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm having a really good football year, so I'm. There's 3 things I care about. In some order, my fantasy team is last. The Bills and the Bulls are both super important, and my teams are 5 and my real life teams are 5-1. My fantasy team is 2-0, and we got off to a pretty good start with James Cook yesterday. So, like, all I do is win, no matter what. I hear that song, and I think they're talking about my 2025 football season. This is so fun, and I would like to see it continue. Is today Friday? Yeah, tomorrow. With the Bulls game at home against Troy, and I think they've got a decent shot at it. How are you feeling heading into this one with a 2-1 record after a nice come from behind, a little bit scary, kind of similar to last night's win, except it was a road game. But the Bulls were a heavy favorite. We knew they were a better team. The whole time we're watching, we could tell they're a better team, but the score didn't indicate it until the end when it did, and it was fine. But that's kind of what the Bulls did last week. And they won the week before against an FCS team. They lost at Minnesota, but sitting at 2-1, playing another out-of-conference game, the first of 3 home games in a row for the Bulls tomorrow. How are you feeling going into tomorrow afternoon?
Feeling good. I think the Bulls should feel good. They certainly have. After last week, they got a shot across the bow that, again, listen, we're a good team, but we're not good enough to just not show up ready for war. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They kind of, as Nick Saban put it, might have swallowed a little bit of the rat poison and believed some of the clippings of this is going to be an easy game, and they got themselves into the deep water and were able to get out. And that, in the end, is the most important thing. You're going to have tight games, you're going to have close games, and you're always going to face somebody that is going to, as long as you're able to get the win and move on. They did. So, learn from it and move on. And now they're facing a team in Troy, had an up and down season where they were trailing into the fourth quarter of their FCS game against Nicholls State, came back, got a couple turnovers in short fields in the fourth quarter, and won comfortably in the end. But that was a very tight game. And then follow that up with going into Death Valley to face Clemson and had a 2-score lead at halftime and was in a 1-score game deep into that game. So then you're thinking, wow, okay, well, at first thought, I thought they weren't that good, but now they're taking Clemson deep. All right, they are pretty good. We'll come back last week. They're at home against Memphis, and on the first drive of the game, their starting quarterback gets injured, and the offense never really picked up any steam or recovered after they lost their starting quarterback. They lose to Memphis 28-7. It really was Memphis. Basically, the entire second half was just running the ball and running clock. So that game was really never in doubt. I think they had like 130 yards offense maybe in the game to Troy. So not really sure what you're going to see here offensively, and I think that gives a little bit of an advantage to Troy. They're going to have their backup quarterback come in, Kilcrease, who they've used at times this year as like a gadget guy running the football.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're going to have a full week to prepare and come up with things and really tailor the game plan around the new quarterback. So I think we're going to see some new wrinkles and some new looks, and it's going to give at least a little bit of an advantage to Troy early on in the game. But I really like what we've seen now this is the second season of all the coaches that Coach Lembo has assembled, which is their ability to adapt and identify and overcome. That even with some of that, the Bulls still should be in a pretty good spot. The one consistent thing for Troy, they are big along the offensive line. They are big along the defensive line. They are a physical football team, and the Bulls will have to match that physicality in this game and that intensity if they're going to be able to try and win it. They're at home. I think that they match up nicely, and we saw how they matched up physically against Minnesota and hung in there. I think that they can do that. To me, it's more about a mentality, and if they can keep the intensity and the physicality up, I think they will be okay and in a good spot. Either way, I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah. I think the scare at Kent is probably helpful. And it's weird. I think about this a lot, that you and I talk about football a lot. We do a ton of UB Bulls, but of course we do the Bills. The fact that they're both Buffalo, they're one letter off from each other. It's tough when they play in games that are this similar, because like I think about what I was thinking during that game, and I go, oh no, that was the UB game. Oh no, that was the Bills game. Here's my latest problem, and this is kind of off the beaten track, but the fact that not only did I get introduced to Jackson Hawes and Jack Howes within like a week of each other. One is a tight end for the Bills, one is the kicker for the Bulls, and then it occurred to me that like Junior Poyser plays on the Bulls while Jordan Poyer is on the Bills practice squad, and like it explains why for 15 years you and I have constantly made the mistake of saying Bills when we mean Bulls and Bulls when we mean Bills. There's too much stuff going on. When their games are similar and the teams are similar and they're winning, it gets very confusing. And I just wanted to point that out. It's just sort of an aside, but I just wanted to let people know what we're dealing with here. We are professionals dealing with adverse conditions due to these teams grabbing players who have the same friggin' name all the time. Not all the time, but it makes things confusing.
There's a bunch of Bulls on the Bills too.
Plus, there are a bunch of Bulls on the Bills. That's right. And they got, it's all the same stuff. So I'm just throwing that out there that this is that's a part of it. Someone on the broadcast last night on the post-game show, I believe, maybe it was late in the game, but somebody said, this is the kind of, it must have been after the game. This is the kind of win that, like, I'm paraphrasing here, but this is my take on it. While you're going through it, it's not ideal because it's tighter than you wanted it to be. But as soon as it's over, you've got a ton on film to say, this is what we need to correct for next week. And yeah, we got away with a win here. But here's what we can do to make sure we get the win next time. And I think in both cases, the game against the Dolphins last night and the game against Kent last week, there's a lot to work on while also recognizing we are vulnerable to teams that we may think we're better than. But we're going to play a bunch more games this year, so let's remember that. And let's not go lightly and tread lightly into any of these division games, these conference games, whatever the case may be, because it's going to be tougher than you think. But if you can get out on the other side and say, yeah, it wasn't our best, but we survived, and we went 1-0 this week, as both the Bills and the Bulls have done. Well, the Bills went 2-0 this week. The Bills have gone 2-0 since the last Bulls game, actually. 2 wins in 4 days is a good way to get started. I don't remember what my overall point is. Taking what you learn from a tighter loss than you expected and still have the W. You still have the W. So that's like best case scenario. when you look back on it. In the moment, you don't love it. But I think that win over Kent is ultimately going to be a good thing for the Bulls in that it was as close as it was.
Yeah, totally agree. It's going to be. I love the kickoff time at 3:30. We both love the 3:30 games. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really tight, close game, and the weather's going to be great. I would encourage everybody to get out there, support this team. They certainly deserve it. Red Murdoch, I believe this week just made the what is it? The All Good Hands team.
All-State AFCA Good Works team.
Good Works team.
Yeah.
Which is basically like acknowledging excellent players that are also
community people
as well. Yeah, he's a big community service guy. He's out there helping Buffalo in a bunch of different ways all the time. So, get out there, support the team, enjoy a nice afternoon, good parking, get out there, tailgate. It's going to be beautiful. You want my lock of my pick of the week?
Nah, I'm just kidding. Yes, of course.
All right.
Come on, nah was a funny answer. You got to admit, nah was a funny answer.
Forget it. I'll keep it to myself.
I've got Bob's. Do you know what Bob's lock was?
What was Bob's?
Bob's was the Chiefs -5.5 against your Giants. Bob went NFL this week.
I gotta go.
What's your pick?
No, my pick is I'm going to go Illinois +6.5 at Indiana. Top 25 matchup between these two teams. I think Indiana hasn't played anybody. They're living a little bit off of what they were able to do last year as far as Vegas is concerned. Illinois has at least played at Duke and blew them out. Luke Altmaier, I like at quarterback. Brett Bielema, they're going to run the football. I will take Illinois getting 6.5 at Indiana over the Hoosiers. That's at least going to be a tight game. If not, I think Illinois is a little bit undervalued right now, and they have the ability to at least win that. I do also want to say there is an 11 o'clock game on, and it's Michigan State at USC. And Michigan State is, I think, getting 18.5, something like that.
Okay.
That's a big number for Michigan State that in a Big Ten game. USC hasn't really proven that they can swim in the Big Ten waters consistently. I know it's only been one season, but still. The time difference stinks for the Spartans, but they've got a really good quarterback I like, Jordan Childs. He was out at Oregon State, transferred with the coach, Jonathan Smith, over to Michigan State. He had a terrific game against Boston College, I think a couple weeks ago. I really like what they're able to do with him. They're not a perfect team. They got a wide receiver out there, a big target. That number seems really, really high to me. I know the Michigan State defense isn't great, isn't quite where they are, but I don't know if USC is 3 scores better than the Spartans. They'll probably win, but I don't think it's going to be that big. So that's just kind of an extra thing to keep an eye on if you've, if the Illinois thing doesn't work out, you can always come back at 11 p.m.
There you go. Yeah, you can always chase it. It's always
you can always chase it with a couple of beers.
Can you imagine being a Midwest kid who's recruited by, like, let's say, Wisconsin and Nebraska and Indiana and Michigan State, and you're like, yeah, all right, I guess I'll play in East Lansing. That's fine. And then it's like your 3rd or 4th year with the team. They're like, hey, we've added a couple teams to the conference, and we're going to start traveling to California a lot. SC's in there. UCLA's in there. We're going to go to Oregon. Like, what a change in everything that is by adding those teams to the mix. If you're just some Midwest kid who was choosing between, Lincoln and East Lansing, and now you get to go play at USC, that's fun. Like, I'm waiting for the Bulls to add a California team to the conference, the MAC to add a California team to the conference. Or Reno.
Imagine you're going to Rutgers.
Right.
You're a Jersey kid.
Right.
And you're saying, well, all right, yeah, we'll have some games at Minnesota.
Right.
We'll get way out west to Bloomington.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, get ready. You're going to L.A. twice and Oregon and Seattle.
Yeah, it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It is. But so far, the Big Ten has shown that the traditional members.
Yeah, they're a different brand, different breed, different thing.
Other than Oregon, it's the other 3 members have had a bit of a rougher time.
All right. I think we're done for today, but I will see you tomorrow. Pre-game show at 2:30 on the Bet 1520 and also on the Varsity Network app. And looking forward to that. So thank you, Scott Wilson, our senior football correspondent, as well as our senior Hallmark correspondent. I did get a note in the chat that the Hallmark Christmas movies have been announced, so you might want to take a look at that. I will intentionally not take a look at that at all. I'll avoid it completely. But maybe we can do something with that next week. Maybe we could do something with that tomorrow if in the second half of the game if it's a blowout. Nah, probably not. We should probably not do it during the football game. But if reminder that if you go to the Varsity app or really anywhere that you can find UB Bulls Insider, there's a podcast there that Scott and I put out. It was released yesterday that gives you a much more in-depth view of what happened last week with the Bulls and what's going to happen or what we think is going to happen this weekend with the Bulls. That's available in addition to Scott being on Writer Radio twice a week. Writer Radio presented by independent insurance broker Brian Janik at thefinancialguys.com. We love Brian Janik, our first sponsor here. Yeah, exactly. It's his second week sponsoring the show. He's very pleased so far with how it's going. So good. All right, Scott, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, see you.
All right, goodbye. There's Scott Wilson. I'm Brad Ryder. I'm going to play a song, and then I'll come back to wrap things up. I'm going to turn off the video because now it says Scott's on the phone. He's not. He is gone. So if I hit this button, then my face will go away. You just get that. Play a song. I got into like 80s stuff today when I was loading up music for the show, and like a lot of the 80s stuff, it's just kind of like mellow, goofy. I don't know. Bear with me. Quick timeout. I'll be back to wrap things up. It's 11:55, so there's not going to be a lot on the other side, but a little bit of music, and then I'll return to end this thing. I got like 5 other things I meant to talk about that I never did. Stay tuned. It's Writer Radio. Thank you to Scott Wilson for joining me. He does that twice a week on this show, and then also on the UB broadcast. I talk to Scott more than I talk to pretty much anyone. Because we'll do, like this week, he was on Monday. We recorded a UB podcast yesterday. Yep. And then he was on today. And then tomorrow we'll do a show together because UB's playing. So that'll be cool. Looking forward to that. Thanks to him. All right, things that I had written down that I meant to get to that I didn't. Bills game was fun. Go past all of that. This is something I've said a million times, but it's so hard to find your glasses. It's like the hardest thing to find because you don't have your glasses on. I talk openly about the fact that I sleep in my contacts. All right. So when I was a kid, when I started wearing contacts, sophomore year of high school, I think it was, I followed the exact instructions that the doctor would give. The eye doctor, who was obviously, working for AOSEPT as well at the time, the AOSEPT contact lens solution system. And then like a couple years in, when my eyes were burning all the time because I couldn't get the pH balance right between the little disc and the stuff you had to squirt in there, somebody said, "You ever try just using saline solution? That's all I use. And it's fine." I was like, "Really?" So I had 2 years where I hated contacts. And then there was that time when I discovered that was the simple way to not set my eyes on fire. I eventually discovered that you can buy the contact lenses that are disposable. They're meant to be worn for one day, and you just wear them until they don't feel good, and you take them out. And usually I'll give myself a break, like for a day. And last night I took out the contacts. I didn't have glasses around. I knew they were upstairs, but I didn't care. I'm taking them out. I'm going to sleep. What's the difference? And then this morning I woke up unable to see because I had no contacts or glasses. And then I'm trying to get ready for the show. And then trying to find your glasses without your glasses sucks. Other thing that happened yesterday, and this is real quick, but it's kind of a similar story. I was in the pool yesterday. And I think that will probably be the final pool day of the year. I haven't been outside yet today. I'm not under the impression that I'll be dying to go in. It was not the kind of day where you needed to go in a pool, but it was the pool. The water was warm enough to be in there. We don't heat it. We don't use a solar cover. Nothing. But it was fine. It was refreshing. If the day was hot, it would have been great. The day was not hot. It was warm. And so the water was like, I wasn't dying to be in there. And got in and had to get used to it a little bit. But I stayed in for, 45 minutes or something. And I'm playing catch with a football with my 8-year-old. And we have a trampoline in the backyard too. So he's in the trampoline and I'm in the pool. And we're playing catch back and forth. And the throws are kind of difficult because there's the big net on the trampoline. So I got to drop it in the bucket from the pool every time. And it didn't go perfectly, but it was all right. But at one point, I went to throw, and I went, ow. He's like, what happened? Are you okay? I said, yeah, I stepped on something. He's like, oh, it's probably one of the seashells that we have in there to dive for. And trying to see, and I have contacts on, so I can't open my eyes underwater. So I have to stand perfectly still and try to look down at where I was just standing or where I just stepped to see what I can find. You know what I find on the floor of the pool? My wedding ring. I was playing catch with a football and thought nothing of the fact that I'm just kind of, moving around. And I don't know, your hand, maybe my hand shrunk a little because the water's cold or whatever. Thing just slipped off my finger and was at the bottom of the pool. And luckily I stepped on it. And I say that because what would have happened, what easily could have happened, man, I'm closing that pool within the next 3 days, right? It probably won't be today. Might be tomorrow morning. It might be Sunday. The Bills aren't playing, although I'm sure we've got some sort of baseball stuff going on. So there was a very reasonable chance that this ring slips off my finger. I don't step on it while playing catch with a football with my son. And then we drain the pool. It's clean. We've been vacuuming it, keeping it. It's ready to go. I need to buy a cover. Once I buy a cover, we can lower the pool, we'll lower the water level and put the cover on it and remove the filter and all that stuff. I very easily could have trapped my wedding ring under the pool cover. And I'm sure it would have been fine when we got back to it in the spring. But man, oh man, did I come close to, I would have lost my mind. It would have been after I got the cover on. If I didn't notice I didn't have it on, which I wear it all the time, so I probably, I sleep in it. I don't ever take it off, except when I'm just playing around with it. I like to just mess, it's just fun. But had I not done that, do you get how easily that thing could have been trapped at the bottom of the pool for the next, 6 months? 7 months? Or I was I don't know what happened to it. I don't know where it is. What probably would have happened is 3 days after I covered it, or right after covering it, I would have realized, hey, I don't have my ring. Hey, you know where I bet it is? The pool. And then I would have had to undo it, and then get in the frigid water, and then redo all this. But I found it, so that was good. There's nothing else to that story. That's the whole story. I'm going to read some stuff from the chat, a few more things that are on my sheet here, and then we'll wrap it up for this week. Jay Miller. There's a nice battle going on in the American League Central between Detroit and Cleveland. Guardians just won 3 in a row against Detroit. Cleveland has 3 more games against them. Detroit at 85 wins. Cleveland at 81 wins. That is fun. I have not looked at baseball standings, despite the fact that I saw, I think yesterday, that the Cubs have clinched a playoff spot for the first time since 2020. Does that sound right? MLB standings. Let's see what we're looking at here. Standing. How about playoffs? Why don't you just give me the playoff ones? That's what I want. Oh, there we go. Wild card. I just gotta take a look. Thank you. I appreciate the baseball update. I like updates. Let me know things that are going on. I can't catch all of it. 3.5 games back. We've played 152. So 10 games left for the Guardians, and they trail by 3.5. The Tigers are at 2 games in hand, it looks like. 153. They're at 153. 1 game in hand, sorry. So the Guardians have 1 game in hand and trail by 3.5, and they do play the Tigers again. That's fun. The Phillies have clinched a spot. They've clinched their division, it seems, right? Have they clinched the division? Yeah, they've clearly clinched the division. All right, so Phillies are in. I don't know what the letters mean. Why do they have it? So you got to label it. You got to tell me what. There it is. All right, E is eliminated. X is clinched division. Z is clinched playoffs. All right, back to the American League. American League, we've got 5 teams eliminated, and that's all that's been decided in the AL so far. That's fun, with 10-ish games to go. In the NL, Phillies are in, Brewers are in, Cubs are in. 3 teams have been eliminated. Nationals, Pirates, Rockies. Oh, you poor Rockies. 41 wins, 45 games out. Sad. Oh, my God, run differential. I've never seen a run differential like this. This has got to be a record or close. Can I rank these teams by run differential? Please tell me yes. By division, by run differential. Okay, that's fine. So right now, the top run differential team in major, just to give you an idea of the Rockies. Early in the show, we were tracking Rockies wins in the same way that we were tracking my kids' Little League wins and losses and the hot dogs I was consuming. There was a Rockies moment in every show for a while there. And then I just got bored with them, and baseball ended for us, so we just stopped doing it. The Rockies have a record of 41-112. They are 45 games behind the Dodgers. Now, in their defense, they do still have 9 games left on their schedule, so they could make up some ground there. But I'd just like you to understand the difference between the Rockies and everyone else in baseball. The best run differential in the league belongs to the Milwaukee Brewers. They are plus 190. They've scored 190 more runs than their opponents have scored against them. On the flip side, the negative, the second worst team in Major League Baseball as far as run differential is the Washington Nationals, who are minus 195. Okay? So the Brewers are the best at plus 190. The Nationals are the second worst at minus 195. Just take a guess where the Rockies sit. The Rockies are worse than the Nationals by a lot. They're at minus 404. Second worst is minus 195. Worst is minus 404. Worse than double. Nationals that are about minus 200 runs on the season. The Rockies are at about minus 400 runs. They've given up 978 runs this year. Let's look at that. All right, let's look at runs scored. Let's see which is the bigger problem. There's a decent chance they're last in everything. All right, runs scored. All right, we rank everything by runs scored. The lowest total in the league does not belong to the Rockies. It's the Pirates. So lowest total in the league, Pirates at 545. Rockies have scored 574. So that's bad. To give you an idea of what good looks like, Yankees have scored 801. That's tops in the league. Okay. So 801's the best. 545's the worst. Rockies are at 574. Now let's rank runs against. There seems to be a pitching problem. There's also an atmosphere problem in Denver. So we know that. Coors Field is notoriously terrible for this. Second most runs allowed in the league is the Nationals with 842. And I say the league, I mean both leagues, all of MLB. 842 is the second worst. The worst is the Rockies at 978. They're going to give up 1,000 runs on the season. And that seems like a lot. All right, what else is in the chat? Sorry, I have way too many places to click now. It seemed for a while like 3 screens was excessive. Now I feel like I need 5 or 6 screens to keep track of where everything is, as I'm trying to do multiple live streams at the same time. All right. Question from Jay Miller. Does it help the show if I listen via YouTube? Which one helps you more? My answer was, for now, best case is subscribe to everything and watch/listen wherever you'd like. There might be a more specific plan eventually, but for now, whatever you do is the same to me. Thank you for asking. Then we talked about Kendrick Lamar. The Duke of Williamsville chimed in during the song King Kunta. saying so many swears on this track. I said I like bad words, and Lamar says them, so I don't have to. Jay Miller says Kendrick Lamar is a show topic itself. Yes. ER Mom, Christmas Hallmark movie list released this week. Again, I'm not looking. We notified Scott. He's on it. We'll hear more about that next week. And then this one was for Scott. Too late. I'm just seeing it now. Any room for concern where Josh hits guys in the hands and they drop it? I'm going to just go no. Everyone's not going to be perfect. There are going to be occasions where the ball is not perfectly thrown. There are going to be occasions where it is perfectly thrown and it's not caught, and it still adds up to wins. It's okay. Not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for consistent excellence, and that's what you're getting. It's not perfection. It's occasional perfection, but it's consistent excellence coming out of this team. All right, that's it for the chat. What else is on the sheet? I got a whole thing about Tool playing back-to-back concerts in Punta Cana that I just don't have the energy for. We're not going to do that. The guy who wrote Jesus Take the Wheel died in a plane crash. Jesus Take the Wheel is a song. He died in a plane crash. That's weird. And that might be the end of the show. Yeah, I think it is. I think I'm done. Thank you to Brian Janik at thefinancialguys.com. Thank you to everybody who listens, who comments, who shares, who chats, who does all the stuff. Follows on Spotify and Twitter or X and the Facebook group on Writer Radio and YouTube and all this. Just follow all of it. You don't have to be here at all times. But if you just subscribing is big too, and rating and reviewing and liking and commenting and all that stuff is helpful when it comes to algorithms and growing the show. I don't ask you for a lot. All I ask, I'm going to just keep doing a show for you. And all I ask is you just kind of play a little role in helping it grow by, if you see something, you see a post somewhere like, hey, the new episode is up. It's one thing to click on it. It's another thing to like it before you click on it. And then it's a much bigger thing to share it and then like it and then click on it. Or better yet, like it, then share it, then click on it. It's all just numbers. It's all just algorithms. But that's what we're up against. And I need sort of a guerrilla army to help push me into the next level of where we're trying to get. We're going to get there. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take and how much assistance I can get from people who are loyal and helpful and friendly. So I appreciate every single one of you who tunes in. And we added this new twist of having video part of the time, doing the double stream. I'm going to keep up the YouTube part of it. I don't know if I'm always going to go on video. Today worked well, I think. The first hour I didn't have to think about the video. And then I turned it on when Scott was on so that if you just tuned in, you'd know who I was talking to. And I turned it on for the end, too. But I'm not I don't think like a TV person. I've got a lot of moving parts, and adding in the video aspect is just it's a little extra, but we're going to do it because YouTube is kind of mandatory for what we're trying to put together. All right, thank you for listening to the show. I'm not even going to... I've played enough music. I'm just going to play the outro. Goodbye. Thank you.
What are you doing for lunch? I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich. We're going to go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place. Okay. We brought you a shirt.
Will you get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?